as rural or remote communities. Today, more than 18 million Americans live in areas without access to high-speed internet. Yet internet connectivity is now more important than ever as so many people are working from home or participating in remote schooling. With Starlink, people can get online in a matter of minutes after receiving the kit in the mail. Starlink is now delivering initial beta service for both domestically and internationally, and will continue expansion to near global coverage of the populated world in 2021. If you're interested in service, we recently started taking orders on a first-come, first-served basis. To reserve your spot in line, you can now put down a $99 deposit that's fully refundable. Head over to starlink.com for more information. With our team's go for launch, Falcon 9 started loading propellants at T-minus 35 minutes, and at T-minus 11 minutes, currently all systems are green for an on-time liftoff at 10:59 p.m. Eastern Time. With that, let's take a closer look at the rocket on your screen. What you're looking at on your screen is a live view of Falcon 9. The two-stage rocket stands 70 meters tall, or 229 feet tall, and that's greater than the wingspan of a 747 aircraft. Falcon 9 was designed from the ground up for maximum reliability. Its simple two-stage configuration minimizes the number of separation events, and with 9 first-stage engines, it can safely complete its missions even in the event of an engine shutdown. The first stage is the bottom two-thirds of the vehicle. It has 9 Merlin engines that do the bulk of the work to get Falcon 9 off of the ground and up into the thinner parts of the Earth's atmosphere. At about 2.5 minutes into flight, it will separate from the second stage and make its way back for landing on a drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You, and you can see a view from the drone ship on your screen. If successful, today will mark the 6th recovery for this booster. In order to help Falcon 9 make a successful landing, it's equipped with 4 hypersonic grid fins positioned near the top of the first stage. The grid fins help orient the rocket during re-entry and guide the rocket during descent. The first stage also has 4 landing legs made of state-of-the-art carbon fiber with aluminum honeycomb, which are positioned at the base of the rocket and deployed just before landing. Above the first stage is the second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine, which ignites after the first stage separates. At full power, the Merlin vacuum engine operates with the greatest efficiency ever for an American-made hydrocarbon rocket engine. The second stage is what will carry our Starlink satellites to orbit, deploying at about T+1 hour into the mission. And lastly, our Starlink satellites are safely enclosed inside of the 5-meter or 17-foot diameter payload fairing, and that's what you are looking at on your screen. This is that large structure at the very top of the rocket. This protects the payload from aerothermal loads, heating, and contamination during ascent. Once we reach the vacuum of space, we will jettison the fairing as the second stage continues on its journey to orbit. Today will be the first flight for this fairing, and we will be attempting to recover it by retrieving each half from the water with our recovery vessels, Mystery and Mischief. And on your screen is a view from each one of those recovery vessels. Weather is currently 80% favorable. So with that, the vehicle, satellites, weather, and range are all looking good for an on-time liftoff just a few minutes from now. As I mentioned earlier, it's been a busy few weeks here at SpaceX. Not only are we already on our 5th launch of the year, but we've made a lot of progress in the development of our human spaceflight programs. When SpaceX helped return human spaceflight to the United States last year with the launches of Demo 2 and Crew 1, at the beginning of February, we announced the world's first all-commercial astronaut mission to orbit, targeted for no earlier than October of this year. The mission will be commanded by Jared Isaacman, the 37-year-old founder and chief executive officer of Shift4 Payments, and an accomplished pilot. The mission is an inspiration for or because of the four-person crew's mission to inspire support for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital and send a humanitarian message of possibility. The 3 additional crew members, each selected from the general public, will be announced by the end of March. And in fact, if you'd like to be one of the crew members on board this mission, head over to inspiration4.com and donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Everyone who donates has a chance to be selected, so you never know. The next person they announce as a crew member just might be you. Additionally, our customer Axiom Space also recently announced their first private crew who will fly on a Dragon mission to the International Space Station. Axiom has selected Michael Lopez Alegria, former NASA astronaut and Axiom vice president, to be spacecraft commander. He will be joined by Eitan Stiba, an impact investor and philanthropist, along with Larry Connor, a real estate and technology entrepreneur, and Mark Pathy, a Canadian investor and philanthropist. This launch is currently targeted for 2022 and will mark the first fully private human spaceflight to station. And the last highlight to share today involves the testing of our newest spacecraft, Starship. On Tuesday, February 2nd, Starship serial number 9, or SN9, completed SpaceX's second high-altitude flight test of a Starship prototype from our site in Cameron County, Texas. Serial number 9 successfully reached its apogee at 10 kilometers with the help of 3 Raptor engines and accomplished all of its intended milestones on ascent and descent. However, during the landing flip maneuver, one of the Raptor engines did not relight and caused serial number 9 to experience a RUD, or Rapid Unscheduled Disassembly. While it would have been great to land serial number 9, the testing campaign is the right place for a RUD. These test flights are meant to improve our understanding and development of Starship, and it's when things don't go as expected when you tend to learn the most. So from an engineering standpoint, every time we learn more than we knew before, the test is a success.
And looks like we have pressure for strong back retract.
The team is designing Starship to be able to carry both people and cargo on long-duration interplanetary flights. And we're hoping that one day Starship will help us return to the moon and allow humanity to travel to Mars and beyond. Stay tuned for the flight of serial number 9 in the weeks to come.
Strong back retract has started.
Now we're currently just under 4.5 minutes from liftoff, and Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. And the transporter erector is preparing to retract right now. That is the TE, and that's that white painted structure that you can see on your screen. It's right behind that fairing next to Falcon 9. There you can see a better view of the transporter erector. And the clamps will open up first, and then the transporter erector will then begin to retract away from the rocket slightly. And at T0, hydraulics pull the TE farther away from Falcon 9 as it lifts off. And it may be a little hard to see, but it is slightly moving back right now. Now the TE provides liquids, gases, electrical connections to the second stage, as well as air conditioning to the payload.
בדיקה 1, 2, 3, בדיקה 1, 1, 1, בדיקה. 1, 2, 3, בדיקה.
Gaseous oxygen is venting overboard. First stage should finish prop loading at T minus, or should have already finished prop loading at T minus 3. One LOX loading complete. Stage 2 will finish up at T minus 2 minutes in about 40 seconds from now. Falcon 9 is in startup at T minus 6. Flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. We'll light the Merlin engines at about T minus 2 seconds, and we use TTEB as our ignition fluid. And when it mixes with oxygen, it burns a green colored flame. We then allow fuel into the thrust chamber, and the engines come up to full power for liftoff at T0. At liftoff, Falcon 9's first stage has thrust greater than 5 747 airplanes at full power, consuming 700 gallons of fuel per second. The Starlink payload continues to be healthy. The Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
Weather is still looking good, and the range is green for launch. And you just heard that call out that stage 2 LOX loading is complete. Now, in a few seconds from now that LOX loading is complete, we will clear out that LOX line on the transporter erector, so you will see some venting here.
Ground gas closeouts have started.
And there you can see the venting on your screen. And at T-minus 1 minute, coming up in about 15 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup, and the first and second stages will begin to pressurize for launch.
Falcon 9's in startup.
There's that call out. Falcon 9 is in startup. Now we're waiting for the final go for launch in a few seconds here.
וידאו מהאולפן, שומעים רק את קריין מהאוניברסיטה.
And there is that call out that we are go for launch. So at T-minus 30 seconds. At T-minus 30 seconds, all systems are go for launch, so let's listen into the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes our stack of Starlink satellites into orbit.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
הסברים מהאולפן בתל אביב.
At T plus 40 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off
Telemetry are nominal.
from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying our stack of Starlink satellites to orbit. Now we are throttling down that first stage in preparation for Max Q. Max Q stands for, and there's that call out for Max Q. This is the largest structural load that the vehicle sees. Now, coming up in about a minute, we'll have 3 events happening within seconds of each other. That'll be main engine cutoff, or MECO, stage separation, and SES-1, or second engine start 1. Now, MECO is where all 9 of the M1D engines shut down, and that slows the vehicle down in preparation.
Vehicle is following a nominal trajectory.
That slows the vehicle down in preparation for the second event, stage separation.
MVAC engine chill has begun.
And stage separation is where the first stage separates from the second stage. First stage will make its way back to Earth, while second stage continues on its journey with SES-1, or second engine start 1. And that's where we light up the MVAC engine, and it will propel the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to orbit. And we're just under 30 seconds away from those 3 events. Again, that is MECO, stage separation, and SES-1. We've got a really cool view of the first stage and those 9 Merlin 1D engines burning bright.
Stage separation confirmed.
And there you saw MECO and stage separation. On your left-hand screen is the first stage, with the right-hand screen being the second stage. And you can see SES-1, that MVAC engine is now glowing bright red there. And in a few seconds from now, we should have fairing deploy.
Separation confirmed.
And there you can see on your right-hand screen, the fairing has deployed. As a reminder, we will be attempting to recover the fairing halves today with our recovery ships, Mystery and Mischief. Now, as Stage 2 heads towards its targeted drop-off orbit, Stage 1 will execute 2 burns in order to make its way back to Earth. The first burn is the entry burn, and that's where 3 of the 9 Merlin 1D engines will reignite, and that'll help slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn for the first stage, second and final burn, is the landing burn. And this is where a single engine will reignite, and that slows the vehicle down rapidly in order to touch down on that drone ship. Again, we are attempting to land on Of Course I Still Love You, and this will be the 6th attempt for this booster.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
Now on your screen is a live view of that second stage. This is the Merlin vacuum engine. This engine has about 220,500 pounds of thrust in a vacuum. We're just under a minute and a half away from the entry burn on the first stage. Again, the first stage will perform 2 burns. It will be the entry burn and the landing burn. And then just 20 seconds or so after that landing burn has concluded, the second stage will have SECO 1, or second engine cutoff 1. Stage 2 is still on a nominal trajectory. This is carrying our Starlink satellites to their targeted orbit. And we are just about 30 seconds away, or under 30 seconds away, from that entry burn starting up on the first stage. The entry burn will last about 20 seconds long. And again, it will be 3 of the 9 engines reigniting.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn started.
And there you can see on your left-hand screen as that view lights up, those 3 engines are burning bright, helping to slow the vehicle down as it enters back into the Earth's atmosphere.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
We did have a call out for entry burn conclusion. Stage 2 is still looking nominal. We're just under 30 seconds away from the landing burn beginning on the first stage. And we are attempting to land on Of Course I Still Love You for the 6th time for this booster. Got a live view from the drone ship on your left-hand side. We did get a little bright glow, but no longer see a flame there. Right-hand screen, stage 2 is still looking nominal.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
And it does look like we did not land our booster on Of Course I Still Love You tonight. It is unfortunate that we did not recover this booster, but our second stage is still on a nominal trajectory. And there's that call out for SECO, as I mentioned earlier. That is second engine cutoff 1. Again, we are doing 2 burns for this MVAC engine.
Nominal insertion orbit.
And there's that.
Loss of signal at Cape.
There's that call out for a good orbit. So now stage 2 is going to coast in this orbit for the next 35 minutes or so. So we'll see you back here at T plus 45 minutes for a second stage relay.